So for this video, I'm going to talk about the mitochondria, because the mitochondria is really, holy cow, I'm a little out of breath from just walking up that hill. Gotta do walk hills more. Well, at least I am out here doing that. That is embarrassing, the fact that I'm slightly winded walking up a hill. Dang. Whatever, I'll leave this in the video. I gotta walk hills more, I guess. This is a steep hill and I just walk straight up it. And then in the middle, just start filming a video, whipping out my phone, wanting to get it as raw and natural as possible. Because it's just more interesting, it's more sustainable over the long term, because ultimately, and it's a skill, like learning to talk on video and convey your ideas. So to the mitochondria though, mitochondria is absolutely central to everything. I was getting raw liver just now at Eva's farm butcher shop. It's organic, it's grass-fed, it's awesome. And I was talking to the guy about it. He's asked me why liver is so good. And at the end of the day, like, I don't necessarily have a comprehensive theory of why liver is so good. Like, why is liver so good? What makes liver such an effective supplement? All the vitamins and minerals, yes, but also like enzymes, enzyme cofactors, just raw mitochondria that are in the liver itself. I wonder how many of the vitamins and minerals are specifically associated with the mitochondria, because the liver is one of the organ tissues that's highest in mitochondria. I think it's like brain, heart, and liver are the highest in mitochondria density of your body tissues. It's the same for other animals as well. Another benefit of walking around outside in natural grass is my knees just feel awesome. I've been doing exclusively body weight exercises now, also funny enough, because it trains the mitochondria. So I'm training my body, also tendons too, but I'm training my mitochondria. Then I do my kettlebells, a little bit of supplemental kettlebells, mostly body weight. I was doing some really intentional body weight squats today, where I was just pulling myself into a perfect body weight squat with perfect posture, well, pretty much perfect posture, but really focusing on the hip position, the leg position, and pulling my knees all the way over my toes so that I'm not like, I don't know how to describe it per se, but it's a more engaged, let me see. So the lazy squat, I kind of fall back and I like catch myself kind of like letting my butt wink excessively. Not really butt wink per se, because I can do it when I'm straight up and down, but it's like the narrower the squat, the narrower my feet are together. There's ways of cheating it, but there's also ways of just like using hip engagement and knee drive forward to have a really compact squat. And I'm just building that skill because I want knee health, I want back health, I want strength for sure. But looking at the whole strength game, again, it comes to the mitochondria. If you want to be a high-performing person, you have to optimize your mitochondrial health over time. You have to optimize your body system's health over time. You have to build metabolic strength. You have to lower inflammation. You have to improve your gut health. Gut health. Well, your gut is run by RNA and bacteria, which are RNA. Your mitochondria is RNA-based. You get it from your mom. There's a high degree of correspondence. Very high degree. I need to research this out and document this, but I've done all the preliminary research and it's all there. But it's really basic, like just basic stuff like, well, this is exercise. So byproducts of the breakdown of ATP because of exercise end up generating new mitochondria. And you also have gut microbiome function associated with, let me think this out. I don't want to say the wrong thing just to say something. So your gut microbiome is associated with your mitochondrial function through metabolism. Gut microbiome is very much associated with metabolism, and inflammation at the mitochondria or the gut will lead to dysfunction at the other. Dysfunctional gut will lead to retention of iron, which is bad for your mitochondria. What I'm very much interested in, someone let me know in the comments down below if this is something you know about, or I'll just do the research myself later. They do it anyway, but if you let me know, that would actually, that'd be so cool. If someone actually like let me know in the comments. They're like, hey man, it's this study and this. I'm like, whoa, it'd be amazing. I would totally give you a shout out if you did that. But basically, we have different fuel sources for the body that seem to be genetically driven. We have the Eskimos and the Hansa and the Maasai who are eating predominantly meat. Like what I'm doing right now, just got liver because I start feeling all dysfunctional if I don't have liver. I need it. It's like a necessity. I guess I could just fast more, but I feel like it really helps everything so much. So, I don't like the excessive fasting. I mean, down to like 170. I'm all muscle and I'm strong as heck and it's like no problem. It's just like, I mean, I don't know. I just like, I want to eat more and I feel like liver's just, I know it's going to make me feel amazing. I'm going to eat it and I'm just going to like, woo! And I'm going to like have 1,000,000% more energy and mental duration and focus and creativity throughout the day. It's just awesome. So basically you have different fuel sources though. You have predominant ketone fuel sources and you have carb-based fuel sources. And what I think is that these fuel sources are going to have different effects on the mitochondria. Also probably via the gut, like your gut. So for my instance, my gut, it's like a gut problem as well as a mitochondrial problem. Like if I eat anything with fiber, even if it's not soluble fiber, I get these splitting headaches and I stop being able to sleep. And it's like dysregulating whatever's healing in my brain, likely via the mitochondria in my head and via the mitochondria, the bacteria in my gut. And you also have this symbiotic relationship between gut bacteria and enzymes. Like enzymes, your mitochondria use lots of enzymes. Your cells use lots of enzymes. Your body uses lots of enzymes. But your mitochondria really suffer for lack of enzymes and lack of vitamins and stuff. It slows down metabolism. See, as the center of metabolism. And your gut is one of the prime producers of enzymes. So if you're feeding your gut material it doesn't like, I mean, even if you have a healthy gut, this is where I really experience the most profound, obvious connection between the gut and the mitochondria is like I can be feeding my gut all the stuff it needs to. I can be eating all the same foods I was eating earlier. And over about a 6-month period, pretty much regardless, if I'm on a carbohydrate-based diet, no matter what I do, I experience inevitable metabolic slowdown. It's really irritating. It's just very, very irritating. Green tea is super helpful because I just feel amazing when I consume red meat. Love lots of red meat. And it doesn't have a lot of iron. Like I remember in high school, like senior year of high school, like I like felt like if I ate too much red meat, my body had a hard time processing all of the iron because I was also eating predominantly carbs at the time, higher protein, lower fat. I wasn't consuming green tea. Green tea is amazing for your mitochondria in so many ways. I wasn't consuming green tea because I was experiencing insomnia. I didn't want to consume any caffeine at the time, which I did for so long until like a year in a carnivore. So I was like, you can't have caffeine. Like, it'll keep me up for days and days and days at a time, and it would have. So now I know that caffeine used appropriately with proper supplements is fine. I mean, your body like adjusts to it. I think green tea is like the superior of all stimulants because the primary effect of it seems to be detoxifying. So you're not really getting this stimulant buzz. Like a lot of people and their stimulants, it's this antagonistic relationship with toxins in the gut, where they feel the need to consume stimulants because their gut is full of toxins and toxic bacteria that, if allowed to just sit there and rot like you're fasting, they will torment you because it's just all this toxic crud in your body and it wants to be fed. And stimulants will basically, stimulants in certain foods. I mean, caffeine definitely will aid in the elimination. Let's say you're fasting and you consume caffeine. Caffeine will cause you to poop out probably some of this crud, provided you have enough water and stuff in your system. And that's going to feel good. And then also, you're going to rely on caffeine to kind of push the crud through your system because you're all backed up with crud. So this is where chlorella also comes in handy. Chlorella is a very effective binder, and it just kind of absorbs that stuff over time. I mean, this is like a months and months long process to detoxify your gut. But I mean, you'll feel better. At least I feel better immediately, and people generally feel better immediately. But it takes like healing your body is not an overnight thing. But back to the mitochondria. The mitochondria it's like the one thing that's present in all of your cells. Like right now when I'm walking and I'm talking, this is amazing for my mitochondria. So my brain's starting to wake up from the walking and talking, which is really helpful because I am tired because my body has been not sleeping like well at all for months, and then like during the summer just barely sleeping at all. If I was sleeping like weeks without sleep, like individual weeks, not like more than one at a time without a wink of sleep, but lots of ones at a time. So it was rough. My brain just dysregulated. Everything's dysregulated. I just felt like absolute crap because my metabolism was just tanking. Like everything hurt. Like all my cells hurt because my mitochondria can't function optimal. Like they can't function at all if you're not sleeping. And ultimately, now that I'm sleeping consistently every night, like at least 8 hours. But now my body's like, I'm experiencing like it's like a week in, 7 days in, and then probably gonna be another like 7 days of just like hyper sleeping, where I'm just like hyper sleep because I just feel tired like all the time. And but it's good though because my body's resting. And one thing that really helps me, this is really interesting. I basically like just let tea ferment, like straight strong green tea. I just let it ferment in the cupboard. I just kind of let like natural yeast and stuff in the air, or previous fermented batches, and it just kind of develops this fermented floral smell. It smells good though. It first happened when I left tea jugs in my car for weeks at a time, and I'd smell them. I'm just like this just smells kind of like a kombucha tea beer thing, but it doesn't taste, there's no alcohol in it. I'm like, what if this is just the origins of kombucha? So I just drink this thing, and this is the interesting thing about it is like, there's definitely microbial activity in this. I looked in the microbes that grow in green tea. They're all good microbes, so it's good. And ultimately, these microbes, though, these bacteria are generating mitochondria from, I mean, they have to. They need a mitochondria to function. They're generating mitochondria from tea, like tea particles. So at the very least, I'm training bacteria to generate themselves from something that I consume in vast amounts on a daily basis. And also I feel like if they adapt to consuming tea, they probably adapt to consuming meat. And that's another thing I've noticed with my diet as well, is going off of it at all is very detrimental. I may, after strict adherence until the summer, I may go off during the summer a little bit and just consume a lot of like raw milk and fermented apples and stuff, just to kind of like give my body like, this is carbs. I don't know, like maybe seasonal carbs because of dysregulated T2 and T3 thyroid hormone because of prolonged deficiency of carbohydrates, and your kidneys want too much electrolytes and whatever. But I mean, I haven't felt like that at all because I'm consuming very high fat. So I don't really know how much it's needed or how much is not needed. I have my previous experience to pull on, which says that should probably err on the side of less carbs, less frequently, and then just like raw milk, yogurt, fermented apples, like just stuff that's just gonna feed my body with enzymes and stuff. Probably give my body a break from red meat potentially, but I don't really know. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trying to keep enzyme levels high and everything. The only thing I really know for sure does happen with hyper prolonged ketosis, let's say, is that you get reduced thyroid hormone. Like, that is a thing. I think carbohydrates help with that. But I mean, I want to get into interviewing other long-term carnivores. I think I'll do that. I'll probably start a little thing on my YouTube channel and start reaching out to people or any long-term carnivores who want to talk to me here. I just start talking to a lot of long-term carnivores and seeing what their experiences and seeing what they think about my ideas. Because a lot of my ideas are based on carnivore and based on going back and forth between carnivore and other diets and trying all these different things out. So ultimately, like, the optimization I experience in carnivore is from like reduced inflammation at the mitochondrial level, my body handling this lower insulin generating diet better. I'm also, everything just works better. Like, I process water better. I don't like hang on to water forever. I actually like have physical energy all the time. Like, and the green tea helped with this before, but it still didn't prevent me from developing the insomnia at all. So that was like, and that was also like the magnesium stearate and stuff that was in the supplements I was taking, which was before I developed my own line of supplements because of that. Literally, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But I mean, it's already capping the stuff, but then like once zinc came around, I was like, zinc, I gotta like dose zinc individually now too, and I couldn't even buy it. I just started making it my own. I mean, like, really, I can't even buy the stuff I would want in terms of purity. But basically though, magnesium stearate dysregulated my gut, and yeah, and then that kind of like, that led to the insomnia development, and that carnivore has been helping me out of. But there's still this, it's kind of like open question of like, what is going on with these energy systems in the body? Because for the majority of my life before I started doing like very low carb diets, like, I will say I did have like lower physical energy. I felt like just kind of, I mean, it would have like, it's also eating in school, it makes you feel low energy. I mean, I wanted to like run around and do stuff, but it's like, and I don't know, maybe that potentially, like, school, I think is probably very bad because it forces you to not use energy when you're really young. So you basically like make your mitochondria not work. So you develop a low metabolism by being effectively a sedentary 7-year-old because you have homework at 7. It's like literally ridiculous. So I blame school, honestly, for poor mitochondrial function at a young age. Like, maybe I could have gone far on gut bacteria and enzyme stores had that not been the case. But I mean, who knows? But again, I do think it's like legitimate. I'm not trying to bitch at school. I'm just complain. I'm not trying to just be like, oh, it's everyone else's fault. But I mean, legitimately, like, what sane society makes 7-year-olds sit down all the time? Like, that's bad for your metabolism. It's bad for your brain health. It's bad for the development of your body. It's just not, it's not good. It's not optimal. And that's one thing I've noticed is that, okay, so like, let's take wrestlers, for instance, a highly trained athlete. The second they stop training, they usually they just deteriorate very rapidly, become very fat. Because the thing that was keeping them going was basically high metabolism fueled by the mitochondria, and they just kept on using their body so much that they literally like your mitochondria will fuel detox, the byproducts of mitochondrial function and production and use of ATP, fuel enzyme production, fuel and feed good bacteria. Like, it's this very beneficial feedback cycle. And without that, at a high level with bad habits, the second you stop pumping your body with exercise and stress chemicals, and this is where people go really wrong, is that they fall into the habit of using exercise to pump their mitochondria in order to be healthy, quote unquote, and feel good, even though it's not healthy. And they do this to the point where their hormones shut down, at the point at which they start getting TRT or taking steroids, which I believe is part of why people have so much staph and stuff in BJJ. Like, these bacterial overloads, I believe, come from unhealthy mitochondria that create the environment for unhealthy bacteria. I mean, like, what's the difference between unhealthy mitochondrial function in your cell, like forcing your mitochondria in your cells into stress metabolism, and encouraging the growth of bad bacteria? Like, what's a bad bacteria? A bad bacteria is a bacteria that produces byproducts via stress metabolism. Oh my God, that's crazy. Like, really look into this. So those bacteria create the conditions for more poor cellular function. So it really is this RNA fueled bacterial, because the mitochondria is a bacterial fueled feedback system going on that's mediated by metabolism, because you eat and you use it. It's like the mitochondria on the stomach end are breaking the stuff down, and the mitochondria at the cellular level are using the stuff for fuel to get stuff done. The more your mitochondria is going, the faster your metabolism is going. Like, the higher metabolism you have, the more calories you are burning, the better your mitochondria are going to function, provided you're not dipping into stress metabolism. Stress metabolism is when you're not resting your mitochondria, you're getting toxic buildup. You're basically getting too much oxidative stress per unit of ATP. And now this requires your body to tap into other reserves, enzymatic reserves, etc., to reduce the damage of the oxidative stress. This depletes itself over time. And once it's depleted, you're just left with bad bacteria with stress metabolism in the gut, bad bacteria with stress metabolism in your cells. What's some new bad bacteria, streptococcus, on your skin or staph infection eating you alive is going to do? When you're already on TRT because your hormones don't work, this is really what I see happening. To a very high degree. I'm not saying that there's never a point where someone couldn't be overwhelmed by a novel strain of bad bacteria, but what I'm saying is this is what I observe, and this is what studies indicate that look into these relationships. So, mitochondria. More on the mitochondria. I gotta take a swig of water and use the bathroom. I'll be back for more mitochondria. I just thought of a really wacky name, Jork Parsons. That'd be quite funny. But basically, you have mitochondria in your brain, and dysfunction in these mitochondria is called Alzheimer's disease. Dysfunction in the mitochondria of a certain subsection of your brain, it's called ADHD. Dysfunction in another subsection of your brain is called schizophrenia. I mean, it seems to me as though, and I'm not saying the mitochondria are at the root of all of this. I mean, there are definitely acute conditions that develop that require immediate treatment that are not rooted in long-term development of mitochondrial dysfunction. But these long-term issues that are constantly reoccurring, like, I think that a lot of it is unidirectional from the gut. So you have bad gut bacteria that developed due to potentially stress metabolism, again, though, at the site of the mitochondria, because you're not resting the mitochondria. You're not allowing normal rest to take place, because it's multi-level. There's like different layers. There's like liver, there's mitochondria in your liver. Like, you have to build up capacity over time. And this is even what I noticed with body weight training and how that connects to mitochondria. Like, ultimately, when I'm training with my body weight, like the body weight gains I made when I was like 16, 17, those have ultimately stayed with me pretty consistently. Like, what I could do, what I worked up to being able to do with my own body weight, I can still just do without really any training. I mean, I'm still like training, obviously, but I haven't trained those things. Those adaptations just don't really go away. But one thing that does really help me make adaptations across the board is kettlebells. So that's where I bring kettlebells in, specifically to train the mitochondria. I don't know, this is training mitochondria and fast twitch or slow twitch muscles. I think the calisthenics have a lot to do with tendon strength ultimately, and all these stabilizer muscles, and then ultimately movement quality. Like, I have very strong muscles in my back, but I'm starting to experience just some degree of back pain. And again, you have to be hyper vigilant about this stuff. You start feeling your back hurt, and it's like when you're 40 and you're like, I'm in constant pain and I cannot move and everything is miserable. My life is hell. Ah! Like, people get so dramatic about it. They're like, ah! Like, I'm always like, did this happen overnight? No. And I'm not trying to blame the victim, but there are no innocent victims. I'm blaming the victim, man. Like, don't be an easy victim. I carry a knife on me. I have other methods of self-defense. Do not be an easy victim. Like, why are you being an easy victim? Really, it's really dumb. Like, death is trying to kill you, and it'll do a dang good job of it if you don't put in any effort. And the most base level of effort is like, if people get like injured, they get like these like long-term injuries, like put them out. It's like their neck. I train my neck all the time because jiu-jitsu people don't train the neck, and then they get neck injuries, then they're just out forever. And then it's crazy. But and basically though, so this is the thing. I want to move my entire life, keep my mitochondria working properly. I need to move so that my mitochondria works, so that the mitochondria in my brain works, so that so I can, like, literally, I mean, if my brain doesn't work, I can't think of cool plans that motivate me. If I can't think of cool plans that motivate me, I'm not going to be able to motivate myself to expend a lot of mental and physical energy to accomplish said cool plans. Said mental and physical energy is mitochondrial effort. So I have to be in a highly motivated state, which requires that I have very awesome, clearly thought out plans that I currently have the means to achieve within a functional lifestyle that does not force me into mitochondrial dysfunction. To do that requires that I move around a lot and do athletic stuff. But the main thing that would put me away from being able to do that is the inability to move my body without pain. Well, moving your body is moving your body. So if I'm going to move my body, I'm going to do calisthenic exercises, because those are the exercises that are going to actually help me move my body, because that's what moving my body is. Everything else is compensating for lack of balanced movement with a weight in some capacity. And I don't want to carry around weights counterbalancing myself with movements I can't do for high repetitions, because that just sounds terrible and you wouldn't be able to maintain that as a lifestyle. And then I can walk. I think walking is really good, but I think other forms of movement, like just body weight stuff, it's really simple. You don't have to tax yourself. Just do it. That's how I'm doing it. 5 days a week, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. That's it. You know what I mean? You just do your physical activity 5 days a week, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. It's all good. And probably because I have a rigorous jiu-jitsu schedule, normally when I'm not injured, I take like a month off in the winter just to let my body like completely recover from whatever injuries are nagging. Because again, your body can recover. So stimulating your mitochondria. And again, if you look at stress adaptations in the mitochondria, they're short term. So all these people who are like, yeah, but if I don't train hard every day, I lose my conditioning, man. You're not as conditioned as me. I mean, conditioning is sport specific. I can guarantee you, if you challenge me in any realm, I'll be prepared in that realm. Might not be able to keep pace with you in tennis, but I've conditioned my mitochondria for what they need to do. Because again, this is also why, funny enough, literally, I mean, this is why conditioning is activity specific. Because I can't generally condition all of the mitochondria in my body at once. I mean, literally, like, think about right now, my body. I'm walking. I'm either wearing barefoot socks. Like, my feet are using muscles. My legs are using muscles. My core's using muscles. My upper body's using muscles. My diaphragm's using like mitochondria and stuff. So all the muscles and everything are using mitochondria, but they're all using it at different rates because of this specific activity. So if I train myself to do this activity for a long period of time, I'm really just training all of the associated subsystems in their mitochondria to engage together at the respective rates of metabolism for that period of time. That's what it is. That's why I'm very thoughtful about the forms of exercise I engage in, because I realize that, like, for most people, I think, what are you doing on an elliptical? I just walk. Like, even like combat sports athletes, like walk up and down hills. Like, combat sports isn't a sprint. There's a few sprints in there, but it's really not a sprint. It's really just more the ability to like hike. Like, if you could just hike at a good pace, it gives you that leg endurance. Just teaches you kind of how to, and it's low stress. And then for anything else, you just do the actual activity because of the reasons I just shared. So Again, that's how mitochondria works. That's why you have to use your brain. You have to engage creativity. You have to engage your play circuits. You have to use your brain hard to solve problems. You have to use your body. You have to move your body. Because again, when these mitochondria do not get used, they decrease, the number increases, their ability to function decreases. They become only capable of stress metabolism, or ultimately, I think this is another thing with mitochondria, is people only engage their mitochondria to do like addictive behaviors. Like you can train your mitochondria to only want to like have sex addiction and stuff, like, or on a specific drug. Alcohol actually has the same effect on the mitochondria as ketones, or a similar effect in the energy pathways of the mitochondria as ketones. So keep that in mind. I mean, I feel amazing. And when I was consuming carbs and I drink alcohol, I'd feel better. And I looked into this, I was like, holy cow, it's because alcohol is deceiving me. I mean, I really need a different oxygen-based molecule, because alcohol is oxygen-based, but the ketones are as well. So ultimately, like, I mean, really though, you can train these mitochondrially neurologically connected circuits to only respond to certain activities. I think that's like also, I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff, like these negative patterns and gut bacterial patterns that could, like gut bacterial patterns via these mechanisms might even be associated with behavioral patterns. This could be what people call demons and why they were so into purity rituals and behaving certain ways at certain times and like take one day off a week and like all this stuff. It's all based on this like mechanistic clock-like engine function of a human being. I call it the God engine. I mean, it really includes society, because society also uses its cyclic nature to produce our food via the same mechanisms that we function by at a microbial level as well. I mean, the soil I'm walking on is not too microbially different from me. I mean, I emerge from it, I interact with it. If I toxify this world, I toxify myself, because like the toxic chemicals that we're pumping in the environment are eaten by bad gut bacteria. They're gut bacteria that are foreign to life. And because we're feeding them, they then come into our bodies and they produce mitochondrial conditions that are foreign to life. And then we die and we develop cancer. And we try to combat it with excessive exercise, with stimulant use, with alcohol, with all of these things, with addictive behaviors. But at the end of the day, you have to optimize your mitochondria, because if you're not optimizing your mitochondria, you're not like living, you're not like fueling the thing that keeps you alive at the end of the day, and then you will die. And if you're not fueling that in a way that sustains the physical form that makes possible the activities you use to cyclically engage in the stimulation of your mitochondria for their growth, health, and the benefit of your organism for these reasons, then you will also deteriorate and die. That is the very definition of deterioration and death. And now that you can no longer see me and it is all dark, I end my video. Adieu.